having good discernment. It's like having good driving skills. We all think we've got them, but do we? You want to know the secret or the key to developing really good discernment? It's honesty, and we're going to explain it to you right here.
Welcome to No Apology with Emily and Chris. It is a variety talk show designed to have you laugh louder, dig deeper, and live larger in the Lord Jesus Christ. And today, of course, it is about honesty. Emily just said that. But also, we're going to be trying, maybe kind of, sort of, going to try to do a right on way off and some other things. I've got the backside of the honesty, but the Gramster Rant, she's going to start with discernment through honesty.
Well, we would be remiss, of course, if we didn't talk about the State of the Union address that was just last night. Kind of big doings going on, but that's a great example for us to look and see honesty versus not being honest. And are we able to see through it and using our discernment to cut through the clutter and the garbage? So let's do that. Let's talk a little bit about the State of the Union last night. Now, before it even happened, we heard Democrats talking about how they were planning to disrupt. They were going to boycott. They were going to walk out. They were going to have noisemakers, all these different rumors swirling around. Some of them came to fruition. And I actually started thinking, maybe the boycotting thing for y'all is not a bad idea. Maybe it would just be better if you weren't there anyway. And as it turns out, I think a lot fewer people would have been offended if none of them would have just come.
Well, it was such a disappointment on a human level. They almost looked and acted like they were subhuman. Like their dishonesty and their demonic position has overtaken them.
Yeah, there was
That's
a visual.
what it looks like. I said out loud in the middle of Trump's speech, because I was going in and out during the speech. You were kind of
We had to keep
focused
rewinding. What's he talking about from the kitchen? And I didn't mind.
And, one of the things I said is the Democratic Party died today.
I think so.
And I think it did. If it didn't, then we've got other problems. But again, it comes down to being honest. And if you're not honest, a lot of times you use the word dishonest already. What else do you call someone who's dishonest?
A liar?
Ding, ding,
Maybe.
ding.
Okay, it sounds harsh, but that's what it is, right? Okay, so let's just start.
So, yeah, it would have been a good thing if they weren't there.
Let's just start. There's a lot of words being thrown out there that we stand for this and we stand for that and we're against this and we're against that. So let's look at just a few things. First of all, we saw a lot of the women in the Democratic Party. They will dress a certain way. They've done it in the past and even up to the present, where they'll dress in pink to show that they stand for women. They stand with women, and yet they will simultaneously then vote to not get men out of the athletic arena because they are literally harming and hurting women. That's what's going on. And so one of the people that President Trump had invited to the State of the Union address was Peyton McNabb. Wonderful young woman. She was a wonderful, really good volleyball player. She was hurt very, very badly by a spike. They spiked the ball over the net. A male.
She had a brain injury from it.
She has a permanent brain injury now because of it. And they've showed the video. Hopefully you've seen the video. If not, it's okay. But yeah, it was really bad. It was really hard to watch. But Peyton McNabb really did deserve better than what she got when they were there. Of course, we all saw how Democrats just sat on their hands as we tried to honor some of these people who have just really overcome some devastating circumstances in their life. And then to hear how the president wants to continue to help not just those people, but make sure that this doesn't happen anymore. So when I found out that she was going to be there, I was really kind of happy about that. And I made mention of it on one of my social media posts. And these are the people who are still standing with this party, Chris, that you so eloquently said, the nails in the coffin, right? Yeah. So this was one of the responses that was on my social media from people who do support this leftist ideology. And he says, I'm just going to read it for you. He says, let's just keep it real. Let's just be honest, should we? Yeah, I like that. Let's keep it real.
Oh, keeping it real.
Yeah. And he goes on to say the guy who Peyton was playing against was only 5'10". That's undersized for even college. This girl is get this, little, chubby, and southern. He starts slamming her physical attributes. He says that's not a volleyball player, that's a catcher in softball. My 16-year-old daughter was playing volleyball with men who were 6'4" on the beach all winter break in Brazil.
Oh, happy day.
And
Blessings to
she
you,
didn't get hurt.
Brazilian traveler.
Yeah, he finishes up by saying she didn't get hurt because she's a good player. I was like mortified. And my first inclination was just get rid of that. I mean, that's awful. That's the most awful thing somebody could say. But I left it up.
In the picture on the screen, it says Emily Danielson replied, we don't have that.
No, I just said, no, I'm sorry, we voted that out. And victim shame much?
Yeah.
I mean, that's exactly what he was doing. You have a victim, a very serious victim, and you're gonna shame her like that.
This is somebody who doesn't really understand empathy or understanding of other people. This is probably one of the most selfish individuals you'll ever run into. Would be my guess, just based on what I saw from him on his some of the responses. It's quite sad.
It really is. But these are the types of people that are still holding on to the Democratic Party. And it's very, very sad. This isn't about politics or a particular party, but it's about reading the room, right? It's about reading what's going on. So I don't want to end it there, but that's an example of they say one thing, but they're horrible. They treat women horribly when reality hits, when push comes to shove, when they keep it real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
and these people won't be supporting this nonsense if they were actually honest with themselves.
Yeah. I think
that's kind of what we're talking about.
I think so. But let's contrast that, because there were a lot of great stories, the people that they were honoring the other night during the address. Just one example was J.D. Daniel. America fell in love with this kid. J.D. Daniel, we are going to all remember him.
Let's be honest for a second.
Okay?
We got to stop and be honest for a second.
Okay.
I don't know how you're getting in touch with your inner dyslexia, but it's DJ.
Oh, what did I say?
You've been saying JD, JD. I keep thinking Vance is coming on the end of it. No.
Okay, I never even thought about it. This is so funny. So now we have DJ and JD.
Yes.
Okay.
And so DJ, what was his last name?
Daniel.
There he is.
I said JD. That's so sad. DJ Daniel. DJ Daniel. America fell in love with him.
And continue.
Yeah, take two. This time with feeling. DJ Daniel. America
Again, if we were really serious broadcasters like we used to be, we'd stop recording now and redo it.
Yeah,
but we're not, so we won't. Here
we're
we go.
keeping it honest.
Yeah.
This leads to good discernment.
DJ, the kid was awesome.
DJ. Okay, so here we have a brain cancer survivor. He wants to be in law enforcement. He actually gets he's an honorary member of the Secret Service. I love that. When you looked at his face, when this all went down, sheer joy.
Yeah.
Joy.
He's been playing this for a while because that's what he really wanted to do. So he was given 6 months to live, and he's already lived another 7 or 8 or 9 years. He's been installed in something like 500 plus police departments around the country.
Yes.
And last night when he got that Secret Service thing, I don't know about you, but it was almost like I came off the couch. And when his eyes got big, it was just like one of the most heartwarming moments of any speech from any president in my lifetime.
Yeah. When he threw his arms around the neck of the guy giving him his badge, I cried a little.
Yeah, that picture right there is worth 1,000 words.
It really is. Oh, and black and white people getting along, loving one another. That does happen, Democrats, in the United States.
We've lived it a lot with other authentic Christians.
But the story didn't end there.
No.
The story did not end there, because then a little bit later we watch Jason Hartley receive his acceptance into West Point. How cool is that? What does DJ do? DJ runs down the aisle to give Jason a congratulatory high five when he learns he's accepted into the academy. This kid is not just worried about himself. He was happy for himself, and he's happy for the other people around them. This is the thing that you can't fake. This is the thing that you need to be honest about. And I think Democrats were pretty honest as they sat on their hands and didn't give a rip.
Yeah.
You can't fake caring for very long. If you can, you can't do it for very long. And there was a lot of talking heads, a lot of people talking about they'd never seen to the extent that the Democrats did that last night. They refused to stand for anybody because their hatred runs so deep.
In a minute, I get my chance to have my rebuttal.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about, I believe they were given firm instructions, you don't stand for anything.
Yeah.
And that hurt them. Because what little DJ did, that's a testimony.
Yeah.
That's honesty. You can't fake it. And if you do try to fake it, you can't fake it for very long. And that's what the American public, almost 80% were in favor of Trump's speech last night. I've not seen numbers like that in my lifetime.
Right, exactly.
Only once. And that was the Atlanta mayor election when Ambassador Andrew Young, who crosses the aisle. I mean, the dude just loves people. And so he won 80% of the vote in one of those. That's the only one in my lifetime that I know of.
Right.
And so this is what the problem was. Normal people celebrate, and especially disciples of Jesus Christ always celebrate with those around them.
Yeah.
You know, some other people's victory actually means more to some of the people in my life that are doing stuff means probably more to me than it does to them, because I'm just cheering them on because, you know, part of it is I've had my time, but that's a whole nother story.
And it's not even just that you have to cheer them on and you have to feel this emotional thing, but they even talked about what a unique event it was that they did not stand when the president entered the room. And some of the legislators out there were talking via news media saying, you know, they'd never seen that before, that they were very, very heartbroken, disgusted over it, because there have been politicians in the office that the conservatives indeed have very, very staunchly not liked what was going on. But when the president walked in the room, you stood up, because that's what you did, because you were a human being. And that's what it's all about. So let's get into God's word, because I want you guys to remember this. This is Romans chapter 12, verses 14 through 16. And this is what it says. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice. Mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. Do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited.
Is that your life verse there?
That's my mantra.
That part in verse 16, being willing to associate with people of low position. Here I am.
Yes. And you're fine because you're married to me.
Yeah, Emily's theme song is Garth Brooks. I've got friends, but instead of friends, she says a husband from low places. All right.
Not a Garth Brooks fan, just so that no one misunderstands. He's joking.
I showed up in boots.
The verse. I loved that verse because the main thrust of it, let's be serious. The main thrust of it is, you know, rejoicing with those who rejoice and mourning with those who mourn. And the Democrats couldn't do it. They just couldn't do it. There's an honesty there when you learn to do that, to put things aside in order to just see what good is and what bad is. And so hang on to that. Hang on to the DJs of the world and the Jasons of the world, who the sheer joy for the things that people are doing for them really appears to just drive their life. And look at the people who they did go through really, really devastating things, and the massive numbers of people that stood with them, honored them, and loved them the best way that we could. Hang on to that, and that is going to get you through life. And that's my Gramster rant for the day.
Well, I'm glad that I was here for it. And, you know, Salvage by God is my teaching platform. And Salvage by God has been about honesty and deception and fighting deception. And we've been doing that for, I don't know, I'm going to say like 8. It's been an underlying theme or the main theme of at least a dozen out of the last 20 messages I've given. Wouldn't you say that's pretty
I
accurate?
would say that's pretty accurate.
Because
yeah.
I believe that we have to fight that. I believe that's what we're seeing. And when we have the Democratic Party basically going extinct, possibly, they need a change. They
Yeah.
cannot continue. We cannot have half of our population supporting a party that is that bankrupt, that
Yeah.
is that bitter.
Yeah.
It's beyond the
A
pale.
house divided, right?
But when I look across the landscape of honesty,
Mhm.
I always think about how Bible exegesis is a big part of it. Can you honestly exegete a text, or do you have to eisegete it? Do you have to put yourself in it?
Yeah, that's kind of a key thing,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you end up in two totally different places.
Yeah. So when you look at the scriptures, the first thing I want you to do from now on, whenever you read the scriptures, is how is God glorified? How is Jesus Christ made the journey of our perfect substitute who sacrificed his life for us? Look for that, not how do we fit into the situation.
Right.
You know, an example I got is one of my favorite guys in my congregation calls me up on my day off on Friday.
Hey,
And-
the blame there is 50-50 because
Yeah.
you love talking to people.
I
man.
really love this dude. I'll take his call at 2 a.m. It won't bother me at all.
You'll take
And
everyone's call.
I know, but he asked me, he said, I'm studying in Luke and I've come to this passage where they rip off the tiles on the roof.
The roof.
And they lower the guy down. Now, was it the guy on the mat that was lowered down? Was it his faith, or was it the faith of the four guys on the roof? You know, and I'm like, that has nothing to do with it. You know, you're eisegeting the text.
Uh-huh.
You're worried about how your faith is going to heal you, how your faith is going to make you this or make you that. Yes, it's by faith, but it's by simple childlike faith. And so that passage isn't about the guy.
Right.
That's the first time that Jesus looked at all of his enemies who were standing right there, right up in their grill, and he says, I'm forgiven his sins.
Yeah.
That's really what went down there. Which is harder, pick up your mat and walk or forgive your sins?
Right.
And
exactly.
so the story isn't about the guy. The story's about Jesus. Do you follow?
Absolutely.
And so
yeah.
a lot of times people say, Chris, well, you have a problem with the LGBT, QVC, Skittle, trinket, knick-knack people. And it's like, yes, but it's not because they're any more sinful than anybody else. We're all sinners.
Yeah.
What I have a problem with is the dishonesty in the movement.
Yeah.
In the movement, it is so dishonest at its core. Why? Because there are tens of thousands of testimonies of people who, through faith in Jesus Christ, have had the chains broken and have come out of that lifestyle. Why do they not get a seat at the table?
Yeah.
Why can they not share their story? It's just like the He Gets Us campaign. It's dishonest.
Yeah.
It's not a proper use of portraying Jesus in the gospel.
Yeah, exactly.
And I know a lot of the people that are part of it, and I like them. They're good people, as far as good people
yeah,
can
we
go.
don't hate them now.
No. I just wish they would be more honest about the gospel. But
Yeah.
here's the thing. When you're stone cold honest with the gospel, people recoil because they're at our core, we're fallen, sinful, and evil.
It's not our nature
That's the
to
reality.
love that.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult.
Well, the trans community as well, that again, you're looking at being completely dishonest, which is why I love the fact that Trump said, to all the children out there, I want to tell you, you are perfect exactly the way God made you. Let's be honest. What you see in the mirror is real.
Yeah.
It's true. And so, yeah, I loved that. I absolutely loved it because it countered the dishonesty there
Well,
very well.
See, I want people to look at honesty in any topic.
Yeah.
Anyone who is deceived and then becomes not deceived anymore must make a choice whether they come off their anchored position or not. And that's
Oh,
what I
yes.
did in last week's message,
Yeah.
was talk about anchored positions, regardless of the topic. Now, one of the anchored positions we are watching people struggle with, in fact, the only thing the Democrats applauded last night was giving more money to Ukraine.
Yeah.
And,
we
they
took
really are
more
giving
of
more
your
money to themselves, but that's
Yeah.
a whole other
For
story.
kickbacks, right?
Zelensky, or as Emily calls him in post, Z-Boy, has lost all credibility.
It's too many letters to type, so I just type Z-Boy.
We got to wake up to
Everyone
the
knows.
fact that many of us, including me, I thought this guy was something cool when he first came on the scene. But my delusion on him was lifted a few years ago when we found out what he was involved in. And so my question is if that happened to you, How do you handle it?
Mhm.
When you see the scales come off the eyes, especially if you call yourself a Christian Democrat, which I, by the way, 2008 at that big church in West Phoenix Valley,
Mhm.
I preached that message about, and Obama was just coming up at the time, and everybody got mad at me. But
Shock, I know.
but I said, listen, you got to open your eyes.
Yeah.
And that was when I said there's three things on the planet that do not exist. One is a unicorn. We know that unicorns are mythical. There's none been found on the planet. Second is Nessie. The Loch Ness monster has never been found. It is a legend. It's not real. And the third is a Christian Democrat. And I went on to explain really briefly. I'll explain it. It was a longer explanation, but real briefly, either you agree with the Democratic Party and their platform, and that means you don't have Jesus. You don't have a new life. You've not been given the light. You've not been fully redeemed. You haven't surrendered your life and accepted the substitute. You can't. It's like oil and water with the Democratic Party platform. Or you're an authentic born-again Christian, and you've been historically in the Democratic Party. You like some of the things that they say, and so you don't really understand their platform.
Right.
So either way, an authentic Democrat, authentic Christian cannot exist. That is
Not
all
for
I've been.
long,
That's what I've
yeah.
been saying for the longest time, trying to get people to either A, change their party, help change the Democrats, be a light in a dark place if you are there, but understand it's not. I don't know. I just don't. I'm just so tired of watching this evil, demonic approach to life, and then people walk around and call themselves Christians and still vote for this nonsense.
Yeah. Well,
Last night should have put an end to it because, they came out today by earlier this morning. It was verified. 22 senators on the Democratic side came out with a video on their social media of them talking, and it was the exact same
all
script,
one script.
word for word. This is dishonest.
Dishonest, yeah.
They are lunatic losers. They are bitter and they are bankrupt. And it's time for people to honestly say so.
Yeah.
And I want to get into praying for people here.
Yeah.
Because aren't we supposed to pray for our leaders? Can you really be a Christian leader, Chris? Can you be a pastor? I've been attacked by people saying, I can't believe you're a pastor. Your congregation should be ashamed to have a loser like you. All I'm doing is being honest. I'm just telling you the truth. And so I want to look at this scripture right here in 1 Timothy
right.
2, 1-5. It says, first of all, then I urge that petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgivings be made for everyone. Verse 2, for kings and all those who are in authority, so that we may lead a tranquil and quiet life in all godliness and dignity. This is good, and it pleases God our Savior, who wants everyone to be saved and to come to the knowledge of the truth. For there is one God, one mediator, God between God and mankind, the man Jesus Christ, or Christ Jesus, it says. So here's the thing. I have said, when Biden was president, I said, do not pray for wisdom for Biden. Don't do it. You're wasting your breath. In fact, you're not even being biblically honest, okay? What you want to do is you want to pray for his salvation. Do you see it right there in the thing right there?
Yeah.
Petitions, prayers, intercessions, and thanksgiving be made for everyone, for kings and all those who are in authority. Why? Why do you want to do that? Why do you want to pray that way for someone who you think is a lunatic loser who is bitter and bankrupt? Because Jesus giving them new life is their only hope.
Exactly.
It's the only hope, and I care about them. Even the most vile, foul person sitting there last night, I'm hoping that they have a breakthrough, find Jesus, and come to a new life. And when you are watching and listening, so many of you are authentic Christians that watch and listen to this program. And so I just want to share with you the fact that you can be strong. And when you are no longer deceived, when you come out of that deception, own it. Own it. Self-depreciation. Nobody cares anyway. You're actually going to elevate your status with other born-again Christians trying to disciple others when you're like, I didn't have it together. I thought this was this, and I've learned, my eyes were open. Something happened. God did something that opened my eyes. And I've got an example from what I call the Delta equilibrium.
What's that?
The Delta equilibrium. I was
Did you
asked,
make that up?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Yeah. It's just a thing. I think about it a lot. It's like the Delta equilibrium. I don't know what I think I know.
Oh,
Okay. Somebody asked me one time, we were talking, how many flights did I take?
okay.
And it was actually a Delta representative I was talking to. Do you know how many flights you took last year? And I said, I don't know, a dozen or more.
Mm-hmm.
42.
Oh,
42 Delta
that's
flights in 1 year.
different than a
Yeah.
dozen or more.
Right. But now here, stop now and think about it.
Okay.
If I'm just thinking naturally a dozen or more,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm thinking about a dozen times I went, what if each flight, and it wasn't, but what if each flight had a layover or stopover? Okay, that'd be 12 trips. If you had a layover on 12 trips, 2 flights going out, 2 flights coming back, how many is that?
24.
That would be 24.
Mm-hmm.
So you're getting closer. And
Oh, I see what you're saying.
yeah, no,
yeah,
24 would just be straight, direct.
Yeah.
You'd be in 24
Oh,
flights.
12, 24. So it'd be 48.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when 42, and I say, a dozen or more, do you get how I was close,
Yes.
but I was way off?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, we had some direct flights there, although I do buy cheap tickets. And so anyway, every time I get
All
bumped
right.
up to first class, I feel like I am the chosen one.
Yeah.
So as we bring honesty to a close here, I want to share one thing with you, and I shared this with my kids, and it's just something I found on Facebook, and it's being credited to Clint Eastwood. Okay.
Oh.
And the Clint Eastwood line is this. It says Clint Eastwood, 94-year-old vegan actor legend, formulated one of the most important lessons of his life so far for the younger generation. This is about luxury. What is real
Okay.
luxury?
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about that a lot. What
Yeah.
is actual luxury? Is it flying first class? Not really. We've done that dozens of times. And trust me, after you've flown an international flight first class to get on and go back to coach, it's difficult. If we're
Can't go back. I won't.
if we're being honest. I used to be,
It is
you know,
difficult.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's difficult. Anyway, don't look for luxury in watches or bracelets. Don't look for luxuries in villas or sailboats. Luxury is laughter and friends. Luxury is rain on your face. Luxury is hugs and kisses. Don't look for luxury in shops. Don't look for it in gifts. Don't look for it in parties. Don't look for it in events. Luxury is being loved by people. Luxury is being respected. Luxury is having your parents alive.
Mm.
Luxury is being able to play with your grandchildren.
Yeah.
Luxury is what money can't buy. And let me
Yes.
add, luxury is having new life in Christ.
Yeah.
When you have this inner joy that you can't explain, and you know that it's all going to work out in the end, and we're all going to party in the New Jerusalem. And that gets me excited.
Yeah.
Even if we don't see the details absolutely clearly day by day, hour by hour, we know that our God has saved us, and we know that he has saved us for a purpose,
Mhm.
and that we have this eternal life that can be our, we're not home yet kind of vibe. We still live here.
Mhm.
And so we have to use honesty to create discernment so that we can then share in a discipleship way with anybody that we encounter as best as possible.
All right.
Make sense?
Yeah. Thank you, Dirty Harry and Filthy Chris. That was very wonderful.
Well, I tell you what, I've also brought a couple memes to the show today that I want to do before Right On Way
Very
Off.
good. I love memes.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things. The one thing that is like, oh, thank you, technology.
Yeah.
I do like memes.
I
A good
probably
one,
should
a
put this
clever
up there.
one.
That was our Salvaged by God
Okay.
teaching moment.
Yes.
And it was on
I
the
love
topic
it.
that Emily brought up. So
Yeah.
there we go.
All right.
All right. I want to create a new segment on the show. And I don't know how we do it.
That was your meme?
No.
Oh, okay.
I want to do like podium finishes top 3 memes of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like in third
I'm
place.
game. Yeah.
In third place, we have I hate it when I see an old person and then realize we went to high school together. That's our world right now. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah, I don't know who coined the phrase, but I picked it up when in my mid 50s. I said, I'm the mayor of Geezer Town,
Mhm.
and I'm 60 this year.
Yeah.
And
But you know why that is?
It's really bad.
We age in such very, very small increments that we don't really notice it in ourselves. And then we go for that long period of time, and our brains kind of naturally assume or stick with whatever it is we last saw, and we think they're the same as they were the last time we saw them. That happens to me with kids too, where it's like they're just these little baby toddler cuties, and all of a sudden you're like a man.
Yeah.
Because because the last time you see them, you expect them to stay there.
Yeah.
And they don't.
They don't.
move.
Okay.
Yeah.
DOGE, D-O-G-E.
Yes.
Department of Government Efficiency.
Love it.
And so that's been going on, I mean, back and forth on X. I follow a bunch of people who are liberal on, and I follow a bunch of people who are conservative, mostly conservative.
Yeah.
But this is a meme that caught my eye that I thought, I laughed out loud. And maybe
Okay.
you have to be our age to get this one. But it's DOGE is planning on coming after those people who still owe Columbia House for the cassettes. You remember that? You'd get 12 CD or you get 12 cassettes for a penny, and then the next ones were like $18 plus shipping. And you had to buy at least 3. And if you didn't, they just kept sending you letter after letter.
Well, they just kept sending you. It was a club, so they kept sending you cassettes that you owed them now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't listen to that much music. It was
And
really
it wasn't like
interesting.
you could send an email. You had to make a long distance phone call, or you had to send a letter to cancel.
Right.
It was quite the mess.
And I kind of blame those, record companies or whatever, those cassette buy them for a penny scams, because then when iPods first came out, it's like you can have, 400 songs or you can have 1,000 songs. It's like, who needs that much? I got 3 cassettes, with 6, 7 songs on each one. What am I going to do with 1,000? Now I have 1,000. I don't have an iPod anymore. Thank goodness.
I have over 2,200 songs on the iTunes.
On the iTunes.
And it's all obsolete because now they want you to just use a subscription.
It changes.
And so we have the YouTube premium thing, and now I can basically get any song I want, but typing it all in is kind of a pain.
I do keep my Christmas CDs. I like them. I'm going to keep them. And I like something about it. Something traditional about
a lot of turntables are being sold and vinyl records are being sold because there's something about sinking that needle into your favorite song that is not just nostalgia, but even people who didn't grow up with it are learning about it. But to me, that's good. All right, coming in number 1 is those were the second and third place meme winners this week on the podium. Do you know what podium finish means, Emily?
Yeah, I do. The Olympics. Yeah.
No, first, second, third.
Podium,
but Formula One and others, it's first, second, third.
You're standing on the little
the podium
levels.
So the number 1 this week, I wanted to find a meme. I didn't want to find it. It found me.
I'm not Laura Ingalls. Why would you think I didn't know that?
Oh, well, I don't know. Anyway, back to what we were talking about.
Okay.
There's a meme that I'm about to show you that is obviously from liberals, and this is a meme to mock Christians who they think are Trump supporters.
Okay.
And so this is when they think of Christian nationalists and Trump supporters.
Oh, yeah.
This is what they wrote it. They drew a little cartoon about us.
Oh, lovely. Their artwork's usually subpar too.
This one is pretty good.
Okay.
It just goes to show that this is a dishonest portrayal of us.
Okay.
But it's got a truth to it.
Yep.
And we need to be authentic with everyone and be honest with everyone so that they might come to new life in Christ, because this is what they think of us.
Let's see the soup song.
Jesus loves America the most. That's why the Bible is in English.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
We have a winner.
No.
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow. Okay. You are not going to believe this because, Chris, you and I don't share our stuff.
No.
That was one of my right on, way off statements for today.
Is it really? Well, for right on, way off, we never know what you're doing.
Okay,
we just have to read and react. That's it.
The reason I brought it up, I'm going to have to find something else, but the reason that I brought it up is I saw that as well. And that is a comment I've heard that before. I've heard it a lot, like at college campuses and stuff, that because we love God and we love our country, and we believe that we need to take care of our own people first to make them a priority, the accusation is then you think that God only loves America and all these, and it's like, oh my goodness. So, how do you respond to that idiocracy when someone who, because they love God, they're going to love their country because that means they love their countrymen, and yet they twist it and they turn it to, like you said, you're a Christian nationalist and whatever,
and you're a lunatic loser who's bitter and bankrupt.
Is that what?
No, that you were supposed to
How do
respond
you
in love. You're
respond?
supposed to
Yes,
respond in love.
yes, yes.
And I respond with sarcasm a lot of
Yeah,
times.
that's
As
true.
loving
Yeah.
sarcasm as I can conjure up,
Yeah.
but that's where we are. No,
Uh,
there's a point in life where you have to cut bait and move on, you
mhm,
know?
mhm.
And part of it is that you cannot continue to throw your pearls to swine.
True.
The Bible's clear on that. There's wheat and chaff. We're not supposed to separate. We're supposed to try to share with everybody. But when people claim they know Jesus Christ and they
Mhm.
have a new life in Christ and they've gone into the baptism waters and come out as a testimony to everybody,
Yeah, yeah.
and discipleship is ongoing, now you have to level with them with
Mhm.
what you know. And here's the kicker. If someone levels with you and you are in an anchored position and you know you're right, you
Mhm.
and it's biblical and it stands up to biblical scrutiny, you
Yeah.
have to hold on to it.
Right.
Now, when they attack you and you see that you're not, and you're anchored and you're not biblical and they're right,
Mhm.
oh my word, they're right. I have to now change. I have to change from my anchored position.
Mhm.
That's what marriages do, compromising back and forth.
True.
You know, different things are.
We've done that over the years. We've
Yeah.
morphed, and sometimes we've like just literally switched sides.
Switch sides, yeah.
It's like whatever. It's interesting. It's interesting though when you really truly love someone and care about the person standing in front of them,
Mhm.
in front of you, you do actually consider what they have to say, even if you know that you're right. You still listen because you want to understand, how did you get to that
Mhm.
point? How can I connect with you and dialogue with you to in a way that will help you to see, not
Mhm.
just prove you're wrong,
Yeah.
you know? And I'm guilty of doing that. So,
So here's the thing: we are in the middle of a proper blizzard.
a
I
proper
mean, we are in a
blizzard.
spring blizzard. We're talking 5 to 8 foot drifts in the house. We're going to we had to dig our way to get into the
We
building to
did.
record this.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to dig our way to get back into our house.
Our dog didn't go out for like 18 hours.
Yeah, she was mad about the whole
Yes, there were
scene.
some drifts blocking
Yeah,
her
I want to
way.
show you this though.
Okay.
Because I hit the button too soon. I want to show you this because it is something that when I saw it, and ever since I've saw it, I can't unsee it.
Yeah.
And now every dessert is going to be subpar to me from here on out. But look at this. It's an Imperial Star Destroyer chocolate cheesecake. That is an intentionality that I just respect.
Wow.
I would struggle to eat it. Oh, but you know I'd eat it.
Yeah, you totally would. Do
Yeah.
you think that's AI generated?
I don't
Or
know.
do
I
you
mean,
think
I
so?
think it's
'Cause-
mold. I think it's a chocolate mold. You know, is what I
Maybe.
think.
Yeah. I mean, there are people that are turning cooking
Yeah.
and so on into literal artwork.
So I'm
I
going to go to
mean,
my favorite restaurant, which is the Purple Door,
Yeah.
and they have some great desserts there. And I'm going to say, if you can't bring me a Star Destroyer chocolate cheesecake, I don't know. I don't know if I can keep.
I don't think you want to do that since that is our favorite restaurant.
No, I would never do that. But no, anyway, so when you experience certain things, then everything else becomes subpar, just like
Yeah.
the first class and going back.
Yep.
I used to just be thankful that we could be on a plane going to see somebody.
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
it's all perspective. And then that perspective comes back to honesty. And if we're honest about our circumstances,
Mhm.
that will lead to contentment, especially for the born again believer, especially for the authentic Christian who wants to walk a discipleship kind of life and led by the Spirit. It's pretty awesome.
All right. Grandma was truly right. Honesty, it's the best policy. Very good. All right. Keep it right here because we are going to be back in just a few minutes. Right around the corner, right on, way off.
If you're like me and you see God moving, you want to come alongside and join in the work of the Lord. I'm seeing Jesus change lives through the preaching of Salvaged by God and the joy of the Lord in the talk show, No Apology with Emily and Chris. All of this being generated from the nonprofit Fresh Road Media. We'd love it if you'd consider joining us and supporting this amazing outreach. You can even join our tribe for free. If you subscribe really at any levels, we have some wonderful resources as a way of saying thank you. Go to freshroadmedia.com and be part of something new and really, quite frankly, something that we so need in today's world. And welcome to our tribe.
Welcome back to No Apology with Emily and Chris. We are so glad that you are with us today. And we are suffering through a blizzard here, a proper spring blizzard in Iowa. And Emily, it has been taxing, to say the least.
Yeah.
To be out there with our dogs. And I mean, we're talking 5 to 8 foot drifts. And I couldn't even put my garbage out last night because the can would have blown away. We had 50 mile an hour gusts, a solid 30 to 35 mile an hour wind. It was pretty good.
Yes.
All right.
But my tomato plants have sprung to life.
Yeah.
So everything's good.
Yeah.
Spring is coming. It's going to thaw, honey. I promise.
All right.
It is time right now to play Right On Way Off. And there we go. And Zach joins us once again. Welcome to the show. So glad to have you with us. Zach Hammer, if you haven't been listening lately, has been a wonderful little addition to Right On Way Off. And we're going to...
Yeah.
I think you guys are 1-1 right now, right?
Who cares?
Yeah.
Listen, Mike Shaw is still on hiatus, settling into his new job. Emily has changed recording times a few different times. We're under a blizzard here. He's got some sort of convention, city council thing that he's got to go to. In fact, I can tell you exactly where Mike Shaw is. Here it is. A planning and zoning commission meeting is where he's at right now.
Planning and zoning. That's riveting.
Planning
I love
and zoning.
it. Yeah.
Takes them away from Right On
This
Way Off.
is real life park and recs.
Yeah. The other guys one guy's digging out right now that is going to, Ross Tigeson is going to be with us. And then Stephen Bogus is also going to sit in on Right On Way Off. That is our quarterback room.
Yes.
And Mike is our starter. And Zach, you are the backup quarterback getting the ball again today.
There we go. Put me in, coach.
All right. Right On Way Off. Emily gives us some statements, and then what happens?
Yes. Before we get started, though, I have a couple bones to pick with you, Chris Danielson.
What?
Number one, you stole my statement earlier in the show, so I gotta redo.
Yeah.
I gotta redo.
Where is that guy?
See, that was gonna be a really good one. I thought we can talk a lot about that.
It's gone now.
But
I can't
anyway,
even
it
pull
doesn't
back up.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Our computer messes up on me, our Stream Deck and stuff, and so, I mean, I'm just
what
lucky.
does this button do, Dexter?
I'm just lucky the music still isn't playing.
You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
You're doing a great job.
I'm right on
Yes,
that.
you are. Absolutely.
Let's just stay positive.
The other thing.
Even when you are not good, contentment with godliness is great game.
Yeah.
Anyway, the other thing.
Last week, you quickly ushered us off the show. You took it from me and just said, "That's the show. Goodbye, everybody." Boom. Because you did not want to receive the goat. And I was very disappointed in you.
How do you know I didn't have to go to the
I
bathroom?
was very disappointed in you. I refused to stand for you. In fact, I should have brought a little paddle for myself that said something. I don't know what. Anyway. So we're gonna correct that this time.
And you want to know what makes me sad about this segment today?
What's that?
Is that the Democrats had their little false paddles and their
Did
little.
it not remind you of Right On Way Off? Like they were literally playing
Trump
Right On
says
Way
something that is so stone cold true that has verification 100,000 and they hold up false. False.
Like here's the thing. Here's a couple things that were kind of funny about that. Number one, what do you think was going through Elon Musk's brain when you held up your little paddle? What do you think was going on?
Elon steals, or wasn't it Musk steals
or something like
That's
that?
just, I mean, the dude has created, stuff out of nothing.
Yeah.
If he wanted your social security number, he could have got it at PayPal. The dude started PayPal. Think about it.
The second thing is that the camera, for the most part, was always shooting them from behind. So they would have they'd had a message on each side.
Yeah.
So when the camera on national TV showed them put their sign up, it was like the totally wrong message. It didn't apply. Like it didn't even work because they were always being shot from behind. And there was another thing about it as well. I can't even remember what it was, but wow, that was just weird. Here's what it was. Did they not know? I want to know who decided to do that. Because
look, the Democrats are a controlled party. They have a dictator somewhere.
I know, right?
22 senators had the exact same video message with the exact same words.
The same little piano.
And they all were told, do not stand for anything. And I would be not shocked in the least bit if a handful of Democrats leave the party after that. Think about it.
Yeah, well, anyway, my point is, I'd like to know who thought about that because, like, how did you not see it coming where social media was going to take images and just put their own writing on your paddles
Yeah.
all over? I mean, they've just had a field day with it. How did you not see that coming? The most ineffective thing. I mean, bravo. Keep doing it because we're having a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's idiocracy. So,
My heart is broken.
wow.
My heart is broken. Yes, I'm sarcastic towards the Democrats. Talib with her little whiteboard writing signs. I mean, she is a loon.
Yeah, she
And I am tired.
lost her paddle, I think, or she didn't get one.
She brought a
She's-
whiteboard.
Yeah, she's
She
not.
brought a whiteboard to the State of the Union
They
address.
didn't give her a
And the
paddle.
stuff that she has said is so hateful towards Israel, so hateful
I
towards
know.
our fellow man that Chris, you don't show enough Christian love.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm tired of being wussified. This Christian wussified thing where we can't say what's real, that's dishonest.
Yeah.
Back up to the start of the
Let's
show
be
and look at
honest.
honest. All right,
be
let's get
honest.
on and
Let's
do this
play
game.
right on,
Yeah.
way off. I'm going to throw 3
I'll take you
statements
into the
out
ditch
there.
and keep you there for an hour.
It's your spiritual gift.
It's my spiritual gift.
Yeah. Okay. So I got 3 statements. I'm going to throw them out there. You guys tell me whether they are right on, way off. We're going to start out with the most serious one first, and then we're going to go lighthearted. So here's the first one. It's a little bit long. Listen very carefully. Almost everything progressive Christians call harmful theology, which he has in quotations, is actually just the faith once delivered to the saints. They want a God that allows them to sin, and since the God of Scripture won't do that, they create one. Is that accurate? Is that right on, or is that way off? Paddles up, boys. You both say right on. Very good. Chris, why?
At the heart of progressive Christianity, is that what you called it? Or no? What'd you say?
Everything, almost everything progressive Christians
progressive
call
Christians. Yeah.
harmful theology.
Yeah, at the core, they're their own gods,
Mhm.
and they want to make sin not sinful anymore.
Mhm.
We've been dealing with this since prior to even going to Alaska as missionaries. So
Yeah.
I'm going to just go right on. And Zach hasn't had gotten a word in edgewise for the last
He's
10
been
minutes.
sitting so patiently.
I'm going to let him answer the rest
Like
of
a
this.
Democrat at a Trump State of the Union address. Anyway, go ahead.
I mean, my wife could tell you it's good for me to sit and be quiet for a little bit, so it's probably okay. It's probably
At
okay.
least you have a happy, friendly face. So
Yeah,
indeed.
that's all good. What do you think about that statement, Zach?
Yeah, so I mean, I agree with what Chris was saying. I think really this goes back to the foundational original sin, where
Yeah.
Adam and Eve decided, hey, we need to decide for ourselves what is good and evil, and so we will take that upon ourselves rather than just trusting God. And yeah, effectively, that is what we see in progressive Christianity. It's the same thing. It's not submitting ourselves to God and God's will, but rather deciding that we need to take it on and kind of create a God for ourselves. So yeah, that very much is right on for what I see.
All right. That is absolutely right on. And Zach, I loved how it actually goes back to the beginning of time. It really does. It's kind of our natural bent to want to get things the way that we want them. And I love that comment, and it's from Honest Youth Pastor, who we do listen to on occasion. He's got a pretty good podcast. So, Honest Youth Pastor, that was his quote.
His name's Michael something. I bought his hat. I like the show,
You
so
did.
I bought his hat and
He
a
had
sticker.
An exegesis over eisegesis.
Yeah, the hat sits in my office, and whenever I
you've
got
actually worn it.
yeah, I wear it now and
Yeah,
then.
it's a
I
pretty
might
cool
even wear it on the show. We should
I
try to
love
see
it.
if we can get him on the show. I'd love to talk to him because he's just a dude out there trying to do what trying to share the truth.
Yeah.
And everybody has a different style than what we do,
Yeah.
and our
So
style.
far, very doctrinally sound.
His style doesn't turn people off the way we can.
That's true. He has a little bit more of a palatable presentation, but
I
it's still solid nonetheless.
Yes. All right.
So very good. All right. Statement number 2, better to be an early bird than a night owl. Is that right on, or is that way off? Better to be an early bird than a night owl. Paddles up, boys. Okay. Chris says right on, and Zach says way off. We're going to start with you, Zach. Why do you say that's way off?
I mean, in this case, it's mostly just because I'm being a little bit narcissistic, I guess, because I tend to be more of the night owl. That tends to
you
be
do?
my
Okay.
natural inclination. But
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's nice getting things done while everybody else is sleeping. But then again, I don't know, when I'm up until 3 a.m. and needing to wake up the next morning, maybe I regret it in the morning. So maybe I should be right on. But I'll go with way off.
Okay, he's going way off. Chris, you said right on. Why did you say that?
Well, I used to have a lot of night owl tendencies, and I still do. I still
I
will
think they're called children.
Well,
I really think that's what they're called.
since the kids have left the home, one of the hard, by the way, Zach, when your kids leave the home, no one tells you how hard it's going to be to fake that you're struggling with the empty nest syndrome.
How sad you really are. Yeah, you gotta fake that.
And so what happens to me is creative writing will take place. And one of my favorite things to do, and believe it or not, this last season, I only did this like once or twice, but I used to do it like a dozen times a year. And that is stay up and watch West Coast hockey. And so the puck drops at 10 o'clock. And so by 1 o'clock, the game is over, 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then I do creative writing at that time or, whatever, because there's a lot of gaps in hockey games and, between the periods and stuff. And it's just a comfortable thing. And that night owl vibe, I'm not against. I'm just right on because I'm getting older. And I love waking up early and getting things done.
Roaming
and
around the house.
And the
for a
other
couple
things,
hours?
I can't stand when it's 10:15 and I look at, and I'm getting tired and it's time to go to bed and I look at the clock and it's 7:15. So there's that.
Yeah, life changes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. That statement is right on. However, Zach, you are absolutely right. And I'm going to be totally honest with you.
Why do we do this on every show? The
Because-
person who doesn't get the point is absolutely right.
Because I have to admit that I, too, used to be a night owl when the kids were young. Chris, you worked a late shift. And so I would get all my, kids stuff done, get them into bed. And once they were in bed and asleep, now I'm going to clean the house. Now I'm going to Chris is not home from work yet. The kids are asleep. I'm still awake. It's quiet. And I would get energized by that. And I would turn on Mary Tyler Moore and I would clean that house. And so there is something to it. It's not that that's bad in and of itself. However, when I turn to Proverbs 31 and I read about that Proverbs 31 woman, where it says that she is up while it's still night, getting things ready for, that morning for the family. It's like, yeah, that, when I would focus on that and I would try to really stick to that, things ran much smoother for the Danielson house anyway.
I don't get it. So the night owl is right on?
No, she's up in the morning. She's up early,
Oh, so
early
you
in
had
the
said
morning.
she's up late at night
when
preparing
it's
for the...
still night.
Oh.
That's what the scripture says.
Okay.
So she's up very early in the morning, like early in the morning, while
Okay.
everyone else is
So
still
be
sleeping.
an early bird, not a
Yes.
night owl, according to
Yeah.
Proverbs 31.
There is something to
Got
that.
it.
And yeah, once you get old, I don't know, there's a switch that flips and all of a sudden mornings are just,
Better.
they're wonderful. I do really like them. All right, very good.
The other thing is you can't lay in bed and sleep late because your body creates this candy coating where you can't hardly walk when you get up. So that's another thing. If you spend too many
Yeah.
hours in bed,
Our
it's not
son
good.
used to tease you, Chris, when you would get up and be
Yeah.
like, Dad, you're like Rice Krispies walking across the living room, snack, crackle, pop,
You can't even say it.
snap, crackle, pop, all the way across the living room floor.
Snap, packle.
Drop. Stop, drop, roll.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know.
it's just like if you do a lot of drugs when you're younger, it can affect you later in life. If you ate a lot of Rice Krispies when you were younger, you get
You
what
get air
I'm
in your
dealing
joints.
with.
You are
That-
what you eat.
Yeah.
You are what you
No,
eat.
I have the bone structure of a 90-year-old man is what it feels like.
You're going to be around for a long time.
I might be around, but man, it's painful.
All right.
Anyway.
It's 2-1 right now. Chris, you have 2 points. And if you pull this out, I'm just going to say, because you refused to accept the goat last week, I'm going to make you read it twice.
Hey, you know what? We're moments away, weeks away, days away from Zach actually 3D printing the real trophy.
Oh,
Indeed.
yeah.
That's
I've
right.
seen
That's
that
right.
You've been busy with that.
And he is the
3D
backup
printer.
quarterback. See, Mike's the starter. That's
How
why
much
I don't win very
fun.
often. Now I'm winning every time against the backup.
I know. How fun is it having that 3D printer, man?
It's so much fun. Yeah.
How much stuff have you made?
Oh, so much. So much. And honestly, for me right now, some of the most fun that I'm having is 3D printing stuff for my wife and my
Yeah.
kids, and
Yeah.
it's
On
Little
it's been
toy
Facebook,
fun.
stuff.
you 3D printed a ring for your wife, and we
right.
call it one wife to rule them all.
Yeah.
and
'Cause
you,
it's
and you
it's
hang
one
it
of the-
on a Sauron, right?
Yeah, on the Tower of Baradur.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
And
So-
you 3D printed that too.
Indeed.
So creative. So
All right, we're
creative.
gonna have
I
to
love
talk
it.
about some
All
fun
right.
stuff to do.
Speaking of creative things.
All right, here we go. Straighten up.
Your
Fly right.
statement number 3.
Mhm.
Elon Musk, he needs to invent this. Flying cars. Will we ever have them en masse? I don't know if you guys understood what I just said, but
Are you having a
Elon
stroke over
Musk-
there?
No, Elon,
Elon Musk, cars and masks flying.
We're waiting for him to invent some flying cars because are they ever going to actually become en masse like the electric car? What do you think? Is that right on?
Okay, I don't know what you're saying.
Elon Musk needs to invent the flying car. Will we have them en masse? Will we, or we'll have them en masse? We'll have flying cars en masse. Is
Okay,
that
yeah, it's
right
not a
on?
question,
Is-
it's a
yeah.
statement.
Yeah,
Okay.
I actually have a question here, so I had to transfer that. I'm tired.
You didn't.
We had a blizzard.
We had a proper blizzard last night. A proper blizzard.
It's snowy outside, guys.
It's snowy. And Christmas is
All right,
still so far away.
let's take 75
Yeah.
and just
Elon Musk needs to invent flying cars.
yes.
So that we can have them en masse. We'll all be flying cars like the Jetsons. Is
that
that
right
right
on?
on, or is that way off? I've given you guys
All right, I'm
plenty
ready.
of time to think about that. Paddles up. You both, you both are right on.
Yeah.
All right, Chris, why?
The Jetsons is prophetic. Everything that we had in the Jetsons.
Okay, wait. It's not prophetic.
No, it's not.
But okay.
I honestly thought that was going to get a laugh. And instead, there was dead silence.
I have
And I'm like,
discernment because I'm
all right.
being really honest here.
I said, the Jetsons are prophetic. And I thought, did I just do a heresy thing? Is everybody coming down on me now? All right. The Jetsons, as prophecy, has a like 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 accuracy
them,
rate.
yeah,
You know, FaceTime is one of my favorite things. And that I first saw with the Jetsons. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I can't wait to
What a
have phone calls
miracle.
and look at people and talk.
Yeah.
And it really helped my mental ability with just my granddaughters living in
Yeah,
England
it
for a
didn't
long
work out
time
very
and
good,
everywhere
though,
else.
for George when his boss was always after him.
Mr. Spacely?
Yes, Mr. Spacely.
Yeah. Well, listen, flying cars is the last step.
Last step.
Last
okay.
step. And so I
Okay.
believe it's coming.
Okay.
And I just think that there are certain people that can't drive on the ground.
Mhm.
I don't know how they're going to fly, but if it's going to be AI induced, it's going to be automatic pilot. You're going to get in, it's going to fly you across town and drop you back off. And so I see it coming. And I've been watching the technology come on other things that I didn't think would be in my lifetime that we now are taking for granted. So I'm right on. I think it's going to happen.
All right.
I know that
Zach,
sounds stupid. I can't even believe I'm saying
Zach,
it.
what are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't in the statement that it's going to happen in this lifetime, so it was a little bit open. So with it being open, I think it's entirely possible. I mean, we got to be maybe a little bit loose about car. I think it's probably maybe something more like a drone or something like that. That's
Okay.
probably
Okay.
how it
So
would
it
happen.
wouldn't
but-
actually transport people?
No. I mean, it would transport people, but it would be
Okay.
more like a drone in terms of what the vehicle is.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
but yeah, no, I think
Operate like that. Yeah.
I think it's going to happen. I think we might even be getting close.
Really?
There's been some developments with electric planes and electric things like that, and I
Okay.
think being able to do it with electricity makes a difference.
Okay.
But yeah, I think it's going to happen.
Here's the other thing I just want to throw out there.
Yeah.
In this past, 6 months to a year, I don't know the dates exactly, but it's recent.
Mhm.
Elon and his team brought a rocket back from space and landed it like it set itself down. That is, if you understand anything about physics or propulsion or jet fuel or any of the stuff coming out of from the Earth to the moon back in the 60s, this is an incredible feat. I think it's just one of the most incredible feats of my lifetime to see that actually happen.
Yeah.
That means that having flying cars,
Yeah.
that are not operated with human air,
Mhm.
I think is a real possibility sometime.
Okay.
And I'd like to see it in my
Okay.
lifetime, but
All right.
I just told you I got the bone structure of a 90-year-old man. So
All right, that statement is actually way off.
Of
I do
course it
not
is.
want to see this. And Chris, you kind of alluded to part of it, and that was, we have enough trouble with people driving cars on the ground. I mean, can you imagine now?
So
we're
this is
all
way off because
navigating-
you decided it?
Yeah, pretty much. Have you not been playing along? I've made it pretty clear since the beginning. I am the final authority here.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and here's the other thing though, because the air traffic controller thing, technology is not working the way we want it to work. I mean, just trying to do your TurboTax or just trying to do, we run into so many glitches and so many problems and so many issues. And Chris, you even say, when we come in here to do the show, you have to kind of redo things because it's not like we just sit down and start recording. Things are different. Just you open up the computer and, oh, this isn't working. Why is this not working? And you got to figure it out and you got to reset things. And we've talked for a couple years now how technology was so great at first. It really did make life easier. And the more we go down this road, I think a lot of people are like, okay, it's integrated so much into our lives, but it's actually starting to make our life harder and worse, just in a different way. And it's not working the way. Do you remember when we would call a phone number and you'd have an automated service and you'd just go through a little 2 or 3 questions and you'd get to somebody? And it was like, this is great. This is awesome. This is working. Now you can't navigate them.
No,
You
no.
can't navigate them. I went online to just try to get a refund for something that I sent, and I couldn't do it. And I work on a computer every day. I'm not dumb.
Yeah. No, I learned over the years just to sit there and say representative, representative, representative.
You'll be saying that
and
from
the-
your little
Yeah.
drone.
And the AI person finds 5 different ways to say, if you would just tell me a little bit differently what you're really calling about, I'd try to help you. We don't want to send you to a real person unless we absolutely have to.
My drone's not working. I don't understand what you said. My drone's not working. Could you give me more information? It's too late. I don't like this whole.
And then you get to talk to Rajesh
technology
from
thing.
New Delhi.
I'm still missing.
Oh, he calls himself Roger
I'm still
with
missing
AT&T customer service.
horseback riding. Every teenage girl should have the horse. There's a reason she wants one.
Okay, so no cars because you like horses. No flying cars.
No, I just think it's a bad idea. I
Yeah.
think it's a really bad idea when you take the problems of the air and the problems on the ground with the cars and the airplanes and you put a medium in there and just how technology fails us. It
Totally
really
disregarding the Jetsons.
does.
That Mr. Spacely, what an actor.
Yeah, that's what I think of is they get in their little, and they're all guiding. Okay, they have steering wheels, I think, in the cartoon. But
Okay,
yeah,
you want me to
that
do this
can't
now?
be
Because I know I
safe.
won.
It can't be safe. You actually did win 2-1 today. No, 3. Yeah, 2-1.
Yeah,
You both got the last one wrong. So 2-1, you won.
it's relative.
Congratulations. Very good. I don't want to see flying cars. I really don't. I don't like stuff in the air
but
like
that's
that.
not the statement. Okay,
Huh?
whatever. All right, right on, way off winner because I care, and I really, really, really want a flying car.
You are so ornery.
No, I'm not.
That is the
Did I mention
statement.
I've got a lot of shoveling in my future? I'm living through a proper blizzard right now.
Yeah, it's a blizzard when somebody comes and graciously plows your driveway for you, but you still can't get out. You gotta get
Yeah,
out
no,
and
the
shovel.
drift on our garage door was 4 feet high.
Yeah, and our dog wouldn't go to the bathroom.
I finally got her out, but I had to
Finally got
shovel a
her out,
path.
but
And
yeah. Anyway, all
Yeah.
right, that's gonna do it for Right On Way Off, and I'm glad
Yeah.
that you read that, and I won't punish you by making you read it again. Zach, thank you for sitting in and putting up with our nonsense.
Of course.
And maybe if you can explain to me, some of the safety protocol and how this might actually work more in depth, I might change my mind. But right now, no flying cars. I don't want things flying over my property, in and around or any of that stuff. So anyway.
Have you heard of the word drones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see the invasion over on the East Coast earlier this year? And everyone went, what's going on? We need the FBI to investigate.
Emily's got a flying car. Look out. Run for your life.
Yeah, it'll be a long blizzard when that happens. Anyway, all right. So that's going to do it for the show. Chris, do you have any final thoughts before we go?
Not at all.
All right, Zach, any final thoughts?
My final thought is at least we are looking at a future where the AI automated systems that we call into, now we can actually send an AI automated calling system to call on our behalf so we don't have to deal with it. So
I have no idea what you just said.
We'll have the AIs talking to the AIs and we just get what we want to out of it.
Yeah, that sounds scary to
Do you
me.
think that do you think that human civilization is at risk?
Yes, I think it's at least possible.
So put them in flying cars.
There's definitely a couple of scenarios where it could go really bad. So yeah, for sure.
All right, lovely. That's a great note to end the show. Chris, you got to give me something.
What?
Something happy, something great, something final thoughts. We're doomed. We're doomed.
Go to Salvage by God
There
on
you go.
freshroadmedia.com. Salvage by God is my teaching platform. Get into the Great 8 series and the Joseph series. That's where I'm going to be for the next little bit before we get into pre-Easter and Easter.
Okay.
And pre-Easter is called Palm Sunday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was pre-Easter.
Yeah. And don't be dumb and do anything for Lent. You're wasting your time. You're wasting your time. Jesus has already forgiven you. If you want to give up something, give it up for discipleship, give it up for the glory of Jesus, and that's fine. But there's, Jesus is not up in heaven with a whiteboard going, wow, Johnny gave up Facebook for Lent. Check. Good job, Johnny. Oh, Susie gave up sugar. She's not eating Twinkies for Lent. Check. Good job, Susie. This is
all right.
I'm sorry.
The season of Lent, there's nothing wrong with celebrating it, a time leading up to Easter. But you don't have to give something up for the Lord.
Yeah.
It doesn't earn you any brownie points.
I'm not bad mouthing those of you who have religions that celebrate Lent. I'm just telling you there's a bigger message in the Gospels and in Jesus's redemption that you should look into, and you will see that this season leading up to Easter, there's no good brownie points for boys and girls who do good things and give up stuff. It is good to fast. It is good to readjust yourself. It's always good to take evaluation of your life, whether it's New Year's Eve or start of Lent or whatever. But understand that there's no special blessing in the Lenten sacrifice of I'm not going to eat beef on Fridays or anything else.
So, and I always found it very, very interesting that some areas, some regions even have the time leading up to Lent, the time leading up to Easter, like because they're preparing for the fasting and the self-denial, they have a time of just overindulgence right before.
It's called Fat Tuesdays.
It's almost like Mardi Gras.
Fat
before,
Tuesdays.
Like, this makes no sense at all.
I know.
Anyway,
it's pagan trying to merge with the real I want to say spirituality, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway.
All right, so let's exercise some discernment, and we start again, like we said before. It starts with being honest with yourself, being honest with the Lord, being honest with other people. You can go ahead and just own it, whatever it is, and we'll see you back here next week on No Apology with Emily and Chris.